My wife's best friends wants me to watch, while she cheats on me in a 3, so I'm desperate for my wife to cut off her friends, but I don't think she will. I've known this for a long time, but when my wife was younger she had a few 3-way wrestles with her best friend and her husband, then boyfriend. This was years before we even met and she told me early in our relationship just so there would be no secrets. I've never had a problem with my wife being around her best friend alone since the acts didn't involve much girl on girl but more sharing her boyfriend. And for that reason I've had trouble throughout our marriage being around both of them. I just have trouble having a normal conversation knowing that this guy has been busy with my wife. My wife doesn't think anything of it and is completely comfortable. It's just something she did for a little while then stopped because she wasn't into it anymore once the taboo thrill wore off. She can even talk about it with them as casually as she talks about a concert they went to. However, she doesn't do this when I'm around because she knows it makes me uncomfortable. Anyway, we were all together last weekend and her friend had gotten a little drunk and brought it up. My wife quickly shut her down, but the impression I got was that there had been a lengthier conversation leading up to this that I didn't know about. Later on my wife told me that her friend and husband had asked if she and I were interested in doing something. They were down for whatever we were comfortable with. But my wife admitted that they really wanted her again but with me watching. My wife knows there is no way in hell I would be down for that and neither would she. It's literally cheating. My wife stopped doing that with them for a reason and that's before she got married and had kids. My wife has told me to just forget they said anything, but holy cow, how can I do that now? I swallowed being around them when these incidents were well in the past, but now that they are openly lusting for my wife I don't know if I feel comfortable with her or me being around them. Am I wrong here? How do I navigate this? I don't want to tell my wife to break off her friendship, but something I feel needs to be done. Edit. Thanks for all the help. I'm glad I'm not blowing this out of proportion and my response is normal. For context, I do want to add that they all were together 3 times and my wife stopped it simply because she stopped being into it. She only participated because her friend was bragging about her boyfriend and insisted that she try it. She did and she found that no amount of skill could overcome the fact that she wasn't very attracted to him. My wife also really isn't into girls. She participated with her friend but it was a first and last for her. Just not her thing. So I really am not worried about her doing anything with them because she had ample opportunity before we met and she passed. Also, a lot of people are criticizing my wife for not telling me about the conversation, but I'm actually fine with that. She said no for both of us. I'm not angry at her for that. I'm angry at them for trying to make me watch. Update. Since my last post, I had a deeper conversation with my wife about her friends and expressed my discomfort about being around people that are lusting for her and wanting to hit in front of me. She said she understood how I felt but told me that there was absolutely nothing I should be concerned about. To my wife, her friend and her husband are not serious people. They are fun to be around but that's it. She experimented with them in her early 20s but she was a different person then. She was very adventurous in college and right after and did a lot of things she'd never think of doing now. She said she's a 35-year-old married mother of 2 with a serious career and she simply isn't interested in behaving like that anymore. Not to mention that she is happily married and loves me. While I understood all that and I do trust her, I told her that my point still stands. I am just not comfortable around them. My wife then asks if we could talk it out with her friends and if after that talk if I'm still uncomfortable then she will agree to whatever I am comfortable with. So I agree, and we meet last night at our house. They both apologize and swear to never bring it up again. But I can tell that neither think of this as a big deal and from their tone it seems like they think I am being overly sensitive. So I raise that point and they concede that they do think that I am being silly. They tell me that the time they had with my wife was a very memorable experience that they wanted to experience it again, and simply asked if my wife would be interested in participating with me or with my approval. They say that they would have been happy to allow me to participate in any way I liked but did admit that their biggest fantasy was to basically double-team my wife while I watched. But my wife had no interest. They confirmed that she shut it down quickly. They brought it up later while they were drunk because they figured maybe I would have some interest and if I did I could convince her to do it. My wife's friend then says that once I let go of my inhibitions she guarantees that I would enjoy myself. How they think I would enjoy any experience that involves someone else doing my wife, whether I am actively involved or not is beyond me. I am about to say this when my wife jumps in. She tells them that I will not be enjoying anything. She says she's not 22 anymore and has babies asleep upstairs. She tells them that neither of us will be doing anyone else and she thought she made that very clear. It got a little awkward after that and they left shortly after. My wife hugged me when they left and said she was sorry for asking me to talk with them. That was not how she expected that to go. We talked a little more and she admitted that hearing their stories is a fun escape and even got flattered when they would tell her how much they loved being with her. But admitted that it's become a little too real and she could not stand the thought of watching me with someone else and understands how I feel. So we agreed to take a good long break from seeing them. My wife isn't going to completely cut her best friends out of her life but we are going to manage how we see them. No more drinking, no more her alone with both of them in their home or ours. Shopping, lunch and similar activities is where she is going to keep the friendship and I can live with that.